Biological and physical development forms the bedrock of psychological growth, influencing how children and adolescents learn, behave, think, feel, and interact with their world. In this module, educators will explore the biological foundations of development, including genetics, brain development, motor skills, puberty, nutrition, health, and the role of the environment and how these components interact to shape educational outcomes. While biological and physical growth is often considered natural, it is in fact dynamic and highly interactive with psychological, emotional, and social contexts. Understanding these intricacies enables educators to recognize typical patterns of growth, detect early signs of developmental delays, and align instructional methods with the physical and neurological readiness of youth. This module empowers educators with developmental literacy the ability to interpret children's and adolescents' behavior, learning styles, and capacities based on where they are physically and biologically in their growth trajectory. 2.1 Genetic influences and heredity development begins at conception, with genes serving as the blueprint for physical and psychological characteristics. Educators are introduced to the biological underpinnings of development, including DNA and gene expression, the coding for traits such as height, intelligence, temperament, and learning disabilities, dominant and recessive traits, how physical and psychological traits are passed from parents to children, chromosomal disorders, including Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, and Fragile X, epigenetics, how environmental factors influence gene expression, e.g., poverty, trauma, nutrition. Educators don't need to be geneticists, but understanding inherited traits helps explain your differences in aptitude, behavior, learning pace, and emotional responsiveness. 2.2 Brain development and neurological maturation. This section delves into the neurobiological architecture of development. From infancy through adolescence, the brain undergoes rapid and critical transformations that directly affect learning, attention, impulse control, memory, and emotional regulation. Key concepts include neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and form new connections in response to learning and experience, critical periods, time-sensitive windows for optimal brain development, e.g., language acquisition in early childhood, myelination and synaptic pruning, the refinement of neural pathways that enhance cognitive efficiency, prefrontal cortex development, responsible for decision-making, executive function, and self-regulation. This region continues maturing into the mid-20s. Educators learn to appreciate why younger children struggle with sustained attention and why adolescents are prone to risk-taking due to their still developing executive function. 2.3 Physical growth and motor development. Physical development is not uniform. Children grow at different rates based on genetic, environmental, and nutritional factors. Educators must be familiar with gross motor skills, running, jumping, climbing typically developed in early childhood, fine motor skills, writing, cutting, buttoning crucial for classroom tasks, developmental milestones, expected physical achievements by certain ages, variations in motor development influenced by physical disabilities, malnutrition, or delayed neural maturation. An understanding of typical versus atypical development allows educators to differentiate instruction and refer you for assessment when needed. 2.4 Nutrition, sleep, and health in development. Biological development is also shaped by external factors like diet, rest, and physical health. Poor nutrition and sleep deprivation can hinder learning, attention, and behavior. This section covers macronutrients and micronutrients necessary for brain and body function, malnutrition and stunted growth in early years, and its link to reduced IQ and classroom fatigue, the impact of sleep deprivation on memory consolidation, emotional stability, and academic focus, the role of chronic illness, injury, or disability in hindering educational participation. This knowledge helps educators advocate for school feeding programs, physical education, rest policies, and wellness support. 2.5 Puberty and adolescent physical transformation. Puberty marks a biological turning point with profound psychological consequences. This section details hormonal changes, estrogen, testosterone, and their effects on behavior and mood. Physical changes, growth spurts, secondary sexual characteristics, and body image shifts. Brain-body disconnect. Adolescents may appear adult-sized but lack full cognitive maturity. Gender differences. Girls typically enter puberty earlier than boys, affecting classroom dynamics. Early or late maturation. Both can cause stress, isolation, or behavioral challenges. Educators are taught to approach puberty with sensitivity, combat stigma, and create safe spaces for adolescents navigating body changes. 2.6. Cultural and environmental contexts. Development is never purely biological. It is mediated by cultural, socioeconomic, and ecological factors, such as poverty, associated with food insecurity, stress, illness, and developmental delays. Urban versus rural environments. Access to healthcare, nutrition, and recreational activities differ. Parenting practices affect physical activity, diet, and health behavior. Thus, biology and environment are not separate. They work together in complex, bidirectional ways. 2.7. Educational implications for teachers. By understanding biological and physical development, teachers can adjust expectations for behavior and task completion based on developmental readiness, recognize fatigue, hunger, or hormonal shifts as possible reasons for classroom challenges, provide hands-on, movement-rich activities to align with motor development, tailor strategies to accommodate health or developmental disabilities, refer students for health or special education assessment when necessary. This module ultimately helps educators see the whole child, not just the academic output, but the physical and biological systems behind it. I look forward to congratulating you upon the completion of this course.